The Force Storm is among the most apocalyptic abilities ever attributed to the Force, a phenomenon of legend and terror spoken in hushed tones by the Jedi and Sith alike. To conjure a Force Storm was to harness the Darkside's raw, untamed chaos, and to wield it on a galactic scale. For Emperor Palpatine, the ability became an obsession of him later in life, a manifestation of his ultimate vision of domination, not merely ruling the galaxy, but reshaping it at a whim. The myths of the Force Storm fascinated him for decades on end, leading to him uncovering fragments of its lore and attempting to master the terrifying power for himself. But to begin, what is a Force Storm, and why did it fascinate Palpatine so much, as well as why it was outlawed by the Sith that followed? A Force Storm is considered the epitome of the Darkside's power, a devastating manipulation of space-time and hyperspace that manifests itself as a massive vortex of energy. These storms are capable of tearing through hyperspace. They open hyperspace wormholes capable of transporting matter, ships, and even armies instantaneously across vast distances. They destroy entire fleets or worlds, and the energy released by a Force Storm can obliterate everything in a radius, leaving nothing but destruction in its wake. It can also bend the Force itself. The Conjurer bends the fabric of reality, channeling unimaginable darkside energy to dominate or destroy. Force Storms are not mere accidents of the Force. They are the product of intentional, focused willpower. They represent a convergence of Sith rituals, deep understanding of hyperspace mechanics, and a mastery of the Darkside's destructive potentials. To summon a Force Storm is to challenge the boundaries of the galaxy. But what are their origins? The myth shrouded with time. The origins of the Force Storm lie in the ancient days of the Sith, a time when the Darkside practitioners delved deeply into the mysteries of the Force. The earliest Sith Lords, particularly those influenced by the teachings of the Rakata, sought to bend nature to their very will, not just manipulating life, but warping the very fabric of reality. They became obsessed with creation and perversion, crafting monstrous creatures, unleashing storms of energies to devastate their enemy. Force Storms were likely discovered by accident during this time, the byproduct of experiments in hyperspace manipulation. Early Sith Lords, such as those from the era of the Sith Empire, may have combined their knowledge of hyperspace travel with the dark side and rituals, inadvertently opening rifts in space-time. Over time though, some Sith redefined this into an intentional technique, but its chaotic and self-destructive nature would mean that few would ever dare use it. By the time of the Great Hyperspace War, the ability had become myth, a whispered legend among Sith sorcerers, but may be experimented on by the Dark Jedi, the original 12 who made their way to Korriban so many years ago. They were the ones that made major advancements in rituals after all, the minds of Sorzis Sin, Ajunta Pal, Tulek Hord, and others. But as time went on, it was deemed too dangerous, even for the ancients. It was in the Great Hyperspace War that the ability had become a myth, whispered only in legend among sorcerers. The ancient Sith recognized its potential but feared it greatly, regarding it as a power that could not only destroy their enemies, but themselves, and even entire empires. Even for them, it was too dangerous. Over millennia, the precise knowledge of the Force Storms faded, considered too dangerous to preserve, even by the Sith, so they made no attempts to do so. Imagine that, guys. A Force ability so evil, so capable of destruction, that even the Sith didn't record it. This is what Palpatine sought after for so long, his obsession with Force Storms. You see, Palpatine no longer collected material things. Palpatine collected knowledge, rituals. As Sidious, he was fascinated by the Force Storm and similar abilities. He viewed them as the ultimate expression of the Sith's mastery over the galaxy, mastering an ability that the other Sith feared. Like the ancients who sought to pervert or reshape life, Palpatine craved the ability to reshape the galaxy, a grandiose vision of his image. And the Force Storm was the tool in which he would use to wipe away the old. For Sidious, Force Storms weren't just weapons, they were tools of creation and beauty. Where the ancient Sith had focused their experiments on creatures or small-scale destruction, Sidious envisioned using the dark side to control hyperspace itself. He wanted to destroy entire fleets and planets with ease. A single wave of his hand would be enough to obliterate armadas, lay waste to rebellious worlds. He would need no fleet, need no military or army. He would be the ultimate force in the galaxy. galactic control, and travel. By mastering hyperspace, Palpatine would isolate or connect any system in the galaxy he pleased, controlling the flow of commerce, travel, and most importantly, war. He could also project his will remotely. Truth be told, Palpatine wanted his dominion to be seen by everybody, but he often locked himself away and found it tedious to present himself to the galaxy, projecting his will now to every single being and take control of the galaxy in a way that no one had seen before. He could cross vast distances instantly, eliminating the need for any physical presence. He could strike from his throne world of Biss or any hidden sanctuary of his choosing, untouchable by any enemy. For decades, Palpatine scoured ancient Sith holocrons and texts, piercing together fragments of the Force Storm's lore, anything that he could find. He was enthralled by the idea that with enough mastery, he could become more than a ruler. Palpatine believed that with this lore and information, he could become the galaxy's god. The power of a Force Storm was immense, but it is also dangerously unstable. For even the most powerful darkside user, the act of summoning a storm and controlling one presents immense risk. The Force Storms draw upon massive amounts of energy, bending space-time and hyperspace. This chaotic energy is incredibly difficult to control and can easily spiral out of the Conjurer's grasp at a moment, turning against their wielder and tearing them apart. It also caused immense mental and physical strain. Summoning a Force Storm required complete focus and a pure connection to the dark side. Even from someone as powerful as Palpatine, this strain was immense, risking physical and mental collapse if concentration ever faltered. To control the Force Storm, it would literally rip your mind apart if you ever lost control of it before it would ever rip your body apart. As the storm destabilizes, it destroys the Conjurer and anything around it. Ancient Sith legends tell of sorcerers consumed by their own creations, their power turned inward in a catastrophic implosion, and even Palpatine would struggle to master it. Imagine that, Darth Sidious struggling with a darkside technique. That's how advanced this was. While he succeeded in summoning Force Storms during the events of Dark Empire, his inability to fully control them contributed to his downfall. The power was so immense that even Sidious, the most powerful Sith in galactic history, found it too complex to reliably wield. By the time of the Clone Wars, and later on in the Galactic Civil War, Force Storms were considered extinct, even among Sith lore. The reason for their disappearance is tied to their inherent dangers and the philosophical shift within the Sith Order as well. The Sith, though devoted to power, understood the dangers of such abilities that destroyed indiscriminately beyond the power of a Dark Lord. Force Storms were deemed too unstable, too capable of galactic annihilation. Even Darth Bane, who founded the Rule of Two, rejected the ability, believing it was better to consolidate power through cunning and subterfuge, rather than risk total destruction on such a scale. After the events of Dark Empire, Luke Skywalker recognized the catastrophic potential of Force Storms, and he resolved to bury the knowledge permanently. He believed no one, Jedi or Sith, should wield such destructive power. For Luke, a Force Storm and the ability represented the final frontier of the dark side itself, a boundary that should never be crossed. It was considered the last frontier of the dark side. Force Storms remain a mythic symbol of the dark side's ultimate potential, a power so great that it could reshape the galaxy, so dangerous that it can destroy it just as easily. For Palpatine, this was the pinnacle of his ambition, the culmination of his obsession with control and domination, a Force ability that seemed to be made for him, one that he failed to master. Even he could not fully tame it. In many ways, Force Storms are the last frontier of the dark side, a reminder of its infinite potential, its boundless chaos. They stand as a testament to the dark side's seductive promise of ultimate power, and the inevitable self-destruction that often follows. But anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the Force ability that other Sith Lords were too terrified to touch, but that Palpatine became obsessed by? And as always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and I hope you're having a phenomenal day.